This is the mysterious record of immovable wisdom by the Zen monk Takuan Soho in a New English translation made directly from the Japanese. He wrote it for the swordsman who taught the shogun of Japan himself. Fighters have read it ever since for the same reason. No swordsman can dodge the question behind it. Put your mind on the blade coming at you, and that blade owns it. Set it nowhere, and it reaches everything. As you listen, notice where your own attention keeps landing and sticking. Hold on to that, because we come back to it at the end. Find a comfortable position and let it go slowly. This is a short book that was written to be followed, not skimmed. The book begins now.
The affliction of abiding in ignorance. Ignorance means not clear. It is another word for delusion. A beating place means the place where something stops. In the practice of the Buddhist way, there are said to be 52 stages, and within those 52 stages, the place where the mind stops on any one thing is called the abiding place. Abiding means stopping, and stopping means the mind being detained by some matter. To put this in terms of your own art, the art of the sword, when you catch sight of the sword your opponent is bringing down to cut you, and you think to meet it right there, where it is, your mind stops on that sword. Your own movement is lost, and you are struck down by the man in front of you. This is what stopping means. But suppose you see the sword coming and do not let the mind stop there. Suppose you make no move to meet the rhythm of the descending sword and hold no thought at all of striking back. Suppose you see the sword raised and go straight in, without a hair's breadth of hesitation. Then, the sword that was raised to cut you down becomes yours. You take it from him, and the sword that was to cut you cuts the man who held it instead. In Zen, this is called taking hold of the spear that comes at you and turning its point back upon the man who thrusts it. The spear is his. You seize it, reverse it, and cut down your opponent with his own weapon. This is what you call, in your school, no sword. Whether the mind stops on the opponent's movement, or stops on your own, or stops on the sword that cuts, or on the rhythm of the cut, or on the thought of cutting him down, in every case your own hands are stopped as well, and you are struck. Do not set the mind on the opponent. Do not set the mind on yourself. Do not set the mind on his sword or on your own. Do not set the mind on the rhythm of the cut. When the mind is set anywhere at all, it is taken by that place, and you are struck. Since your enemy stands before you with a sword, do not let the mind be drawn to him. Do not fix the mind on the sword that is raised against you, and do not think of the timing of your reply. When the mind is set on anything, your own working ceases. Take the mind and place it nowhere, and it will spread through the whole body and reach everywhere. This is the practice. Do not place it in the right hand or the left. Do not place it in the hands at all. Set the mind in one spot, and it is caught in that spot. Set it nowhere, and it fills the body entire. It goes to the hand when the hand is needed, to the foot when the foot is needed, to the eye when the eye is needed, and it does the work of each place it goes. If you decide where to put it, you will be taken by the place you decided on, and your art will be lost. Think it over carefully. The immovable wisdom of every Buddha. Immovable means not moving. Wisdom is the wisdom of insight. Though we say immovable, this does not mean the insensibility of a stone or a tree. The mind goes forward, and to the left, and to the right, in all 10 directions, and to all 8 sides, wherever it wishes to go. And the mind that never stops for an instant, even while it moves, is what we call immovable wisdom. The immovable wisdom king is shown with a sword gripped in his right hand, a rope held in his left, his teeth bared, and his eyes blazing, standing planted where he is to subdue the demons that obstruct the Buddhist law. He is not hiding in some other world. His form was made in the shape of a guardian of the law, and his body was made out of this immovable wisdom. And so he shows himself to living beings. The ordinary man sees him and is afraid, and gives up any thought of opposing the law. The man who is close to enlightenment sees, in that figure, the sign of immovable wisdom, clears away every delusion, and understands. If a man makes this immovable wisdom clear to himself, his own body is the immovable wisdom king. That is what the figure is for, to let people know that the man who has trained thoroughly in this discipline of the mind will not be troubled by demons. So when we say the immovable wisdom king, we are speaking of the place in a man's own mind that does not move. Not moving means not being turned about. Not being turned about means not letting the mind stop on anything at all. If the mind stops on a thing, all kinds of judgment rise in the breast, and the mind moves in all kinds of ways. When it stops, it moves and yet is unable to move. To glance at a thing and not let the mind be detained by it, that is what immovable means. Say 10 men come at you, each with 1 stroke of the sword. If you take the first stroke, let it pass, and leave nothing of your mind behind. If you abandon what is finished and go on to what is next, then you will not fall short against any of the 10. Your mind moves 10 times to 10 men and stops at none of them, and you will meet each in turn without a gap in your working. But if your mind stops on the first man, you may parry his stroke. And when the second one comes, your own working will be gone. The Bodhisattva of compassion is shown with 1,000 arms. If the mind stopped in the one hand that holds the bow, the other 999 would be of no use. It is precisely because the mind does not stop in one place that all 1,000 hands are of use. What is the figure for? Not because a single body could ever grow 1,000 arms, but to show people that when immovable wisdom has opened in a man, 1,000 arms on one body would each find their use. Suppose you stand in front of a tree. If you look at a single red leaf, you do not see the others. Turn your eyes to the tree with no particular thing in view, and you see all the leaves, every one. A mind stopped on one leaf loses all the rest, A man who has grasped this is the thousand-armed, thousand-eyed Bodhisattva himself. And yet the plain man, taking it all as one straight fact, refuses to believe that one body could ever have 1,000 eyes at once. And the man of some little learning laughs at the figure and knocks it down. How could there be 1,000 eyes on one body? But when a man knows a little more than that, he neither believes as the plain man believes nor scoffs, as the scoffer scoffs. He honors and trusts the figure once he has understood the principle behind it. Buddhism sets out its principles by showing them in things. All the ways are like this. In the way of the gods too, and in every other, the doctrines differ and the roads differ. But where they arrive is the same, the settling of the one mind. From the abiding place of the beginner, if a man trains well and reaches the rank of immovable wisdom, he turns back and comes to rest again in the place where he started. The rank of the beginner. Let me put it in terms of swordsmanship. At the very beginning, the man knows nothing of stance, nothing of the hands, nothing of how to hold the sword. Nothing detains his mind. And when someone strikes at him, he simply meets it with no thought of any kind. Then he is taught many things. He learns how to hold the body, where to put the sword, where to set the mind, and now his mind stops in 100 places. When he goes to strike a man, he is caught this way, and that, and the whole thing becomes clumsy and unfree. But as the days pile up and the months go by, if he keeps training in that unfreedom, in time his stance and his grip and his mind all fall away. And he becomes again like the man at the beginning who knew nothing and had no thought at all. This is the sense in which the beginning and the end are the same. Count from 1 to 10 and the 1, and the 10 stand side by side. In music, climb from the lowest tone at the bottom of the scale to the highest tone at the top, and the lowest and the highest are neighbors. What is highest and what is lowest come to resemble each other. When Buddhism reaches its height, a man becomes like the ordinary person who knows nothing of Buddha and nothing of the law. He may know a great deal, and people will look at him as they would look at a man who knows nothing, because all the ornament has fallen away. And so the ignorance and affliction of the first abiding place and the immovable wisdom of the end become one and the same thing. The discriminating side of the intellect vanishes entirely, and a man comes to rest in a state of no mind and no thought. The plain fool has no wisdom, so none shows in his face. The man whose wisdom has fully opened keeps it from showing. It is half knowledge that puts wisdom in a man's face, and that is an embarrassing thing to see. Training in principle, training in practice. Principle is what I have just been describing. Once it is understood, there is nothing to take hold of. It is simply a matter of how you throw the mind away. But there is also training in practice. In the art of the sword, That means the stance of the body, the various sets of forms, the whole catalog of things a man is taught. Knowing the principle is not enough if you cannot move freely in practice. Handling the body well and handling the sword well is not enough if you are dark about the deepest place of the principle. Practice and principle should be like the two wheels of a cart. No space for a hair. There is a saying between them, there is no space to admit a hair. Put in terms of the sword, the interval means this: bring two things together and press them shut, and not even a hair's breadth will go in between. There is no gap at all. Clap your hands, and the sound comes out in that instant. Between the striking of the hands and the sound there is no room for a hair. The sound does not consider the matter and come out afterward. If your own working slips into that gap, you are lost. Between your opponent's descending sword and your own movement, there must be no room for a hair. And then his sword becomes your sword. You will find this same meaning in the exchanges of Zen. In Buddhism, we dislike this stopping, this lingering, this leaving something behind. And so we call stopping an affliction of the mind. What we honor is the mind that rides a violent rushing river the way a ball rides the current, tumbling on with the waves, never held for an instant anywhere. The spark from the flint? The spark from the flint means what I have just described. Strike the stone and the light is there in the instant of striking. There is no interval in which the mind could be detained. But do not take this to mean mere speed. That would be a mistake. What matters is only this, that the mind not be stopped by things. Even in speed, the point is that the mind does not linger. A mind that lingers is a mind your enemy will take from you. And if you set out to be fast and prepare the thought of being fast, then that very thought of preparing takes your mind. In the collected poems of the monk Seigyo, there is this verse by the courtesan of Eguchi: hearing that you are a man who has left the world behind, I only thought, do not set your heart on a lodging so briefly borrowed. The last line of that poem, do not set your heart on it, may be taken as the deepest teaching of the art of the sword. There everything comes to rest. In Zen, when a monk is asked what the Buddha is, he may raise a fist. Asked what the ultimate meaning of the Buddhist law is, he may answer, before the words are out of the questioner's mouth, the branch of plum in flower, or the oak tree in the garden. It is not that such answers are good answers or bad answers. What is honored is the mind that does not stop, the body of a mind unstained by anything at all. A mind that does not stop is not moved by color or by scent. This unstopping mind is what we praise as God and as Buddha, and as the mind of Zen, and as the deepest place. Speak after considering, and though your words be gold, and your phrases exquisite, if you have stopped to weigh them, it is only the lingering affliction. The flash of the flint, the flicker of lightning. These are names for it. Call a man by his name, and he answers, "Yes!" on the instant. That is immovable wisdom. Call that same man, and he stops to think, "Now what could this be about?" and only then says, "What is it you want?" That is the affliction of the abiding place. A mind that stops and is moved and deluded by things is the ordinary man's mind, ignorance abiding in its place. To be called and to answer on the instant is the wisdom of all the Buddhas. Where to set the mind? Where should a man set the mind? Set it on your opponent's movement, and it is taken by his movement. Set it on his sword, and it is taken by his sword. Set it on cutting him down, and it is taken by the thought of cutting him down. Set it on your own sword, and it is taken by your own sword. Set it on not being cut, and it is taken by not being cut. Set it on the other man's stance, and it is taken by his stance. The point is this: there is no place at all to set the mind. Someone says, if the mind is led out to any place, it will be taken by the working of that place, and you will be beaten, so press the mind down below the navel. Do not let it go out anywhere, and shift with your opponent's movements. That is reasonable enough. But seen from the higher stages of the Buddhist teaching, pressing the mind down below the navel and not letting it out is a low rank. Not a high one. It belongs to the time of training and practice. It is the rank of Mencius, when he says a man should go and recover the mind he has let escape. It is not the upper stage. It has the flavor of reverence and restraint. As for the mind that escapes, I have written of that separately, and you may look at it there. If you try to hold the mind down below the navel, the very effort to hold it takes you. You lose all forward use and become extraordinarily unfree. Then someone asks, if the mind is pressed below the navel and cannot work, that is hard to use, so where should we set it? And I say set it in the right hand, and it is taken by the right hand, and the rest of the body loses its use. Set it in the eye, and it is taken by the eye, and the body loses its use. Set it in the right foot, and it is taken by the right foot, and the body loses its use. Wherever you set it, if you set it in one place, every other place goes without. So where is it to be set? I say, set it nowhere, and it goes out into the whole of you, spreads through the entire body, and reaches everywhere. When the hand is wanted, it fulfills the hand. When the foot is wanted, it fulfills the foot. When the eye is wanted, it fulfills the eye. Because it has reached each place, it does the work of each place at the time that place is needed. Should you fix on one spot and set it there, it will be taken by that spot, and the use will be lost. Think about it, and you are taken by the thinking. So leave neither thought nor judgment. Behind, throw the mind away into the whole body. Let it stay in no one place. And it will be present in each place, and will not fail the work of any. To set the mind in one place is what is called partial. Partial means leaning to one side. Correct means reaching everywhere. The correct mind stretches through the whole body and does not lean to any side. When the mind leans one way and comes up short on the other, that is the partial mind, and the partial is what we dislike. In anything at all, to lean to one side is to be partial, and the way has no use for it. If you set it nowhere, it fills your whole body, stretches out into all 10 directions and all 8 sides, down to a fingertip, an ear, an eye, the nose, down to the tip of a single hair, and there is no place it has not reached. Because of that, it works wherever in the body it is needed, and that is the thousand-armed, thousand-eyed compassion itself. Above all, do not stop the mind on the immovable wisdom king, thinking your own body has become that rank. That too is stopping in one place. In the art of the sword, do not fix on any one thing. Detest the leaning mind. Throw away the traces. Do not let the mind stop and remain in the body. Do not send it out to some other place. The whole thing is in this, what you do with what has passed. Let the mind not stop anywhere, and there is the training. Where do you set it? Set it nowhere. This is essential. This is a matter for the eye that sees. Keep it secret. Keep it secret. The original mind and the false mind. The false mind is the mind gone bad. Original mind is the name for the mind that stops nowhere. The false mind is a mind that has fixed on something and hardened in one place. When original mind hardens in one place, it becomes the false mind, and the original is lost. And when the original is lost, every use fails with it. Say it this way: original mind is like water, and the false mind is ice. You cannot wash your hands or your feet with ice. Melt the ice into water, and you may wash your hands and your face with it. When the mind hardens in one place and is packed into one direction, it is ice, and the use of it is gone. Melt the ice into water, and let it flow wherever it is needed. Undo the false mind well, make it water, let it go through the whole body, and send it to whatever place you would use it. The mind that is there and no mind. The mind that is there is the same thing as the false mind. It is written with the character for existing, and it means the mind that has something in it. When there is a place where the mind has fastened and settled on one side, judgment and calculation are born out of it, and that is the mind that is there. No mind is the same as original mind. It does not congeal, it does not harden, it has no judgment and no calculation in it at all. That is what we call no mind. The mind of no. Mind lies over the whole body, like water standing everywhere. It comes out at the moment a use requires it, and fulfills that use. The mind that has stopped somewhere looks, and does not see, listens, and does not hear, tastes, and does not know the taste. When the mind has been detained on one side, the mind that should be working in each thing is snagged and does not work. If it is not detained, It comes out of itself and fulfills each use. There is no bridge to it but training. This too is a matter of practice, to have the mind stop nowhere, so that in the ordinary course of things, it comes to rest by itself in that rank. Try to hurry it there by force, and the very hurry detains you, and you never arrive. As the poem says, I will not think, I say, and even that is thinking. I will not think even the thought of not thinking. That, my lord, is the way. Striking the gourd on the water. There is a saying, strike the gourd floating on the water, and it turns aside. To strike the gourd means to push it with the hand. The gourd is a dried bottle gourd. Throw one into the water and push it down, and it slips off to one side, and no matter what you do it, will not stay in any one place. The mind of a man who has reached original mind is like that gourd on the water. It stops nowhere. Let the mind arise with no place to rest. Read out in our own tongue. The line from the sutra says, abiding nowhere at all, let the mind arise. In any work you undertake, if no mind arises to do it, your hands and feet will not move. And when the mind does arise, it stops on the thing being done. So the line teaches, let the mind arise, and let it not stop. Wherever the mind does not stop, we call that man a master of his way. In Buddhism, from that place where the mind stops comes attachment, and out of attachment comes the wheel of birth and death. This stopping is what we call the rope that binds a man to living and dying. You see blossoms, you see autumn leaves. The mind that sees blossoms and leaves arises, and what matters is not to stop there. There is a poem by Jean. The scent that reached me through the brushwood door. Ever since I gazed at it, I have held a grudge against my own heart. The blossom gives its scent with no mind at all. It is my own mind that stopped on the blossom and stayed. He is telling us that he resented his own heart for having colored itself and clung. Whether you are seeing or hearing, to leave the mind in no one place, that is the whole of it. There is one character the Confucians make their master, the character for reverence. They gloss it as holding to one thing and going nowhere else. That means fixing the mind in one place and not letting it scatter. Afterward, of course, the drawn sword is another matter, but keeping the mind from wandering, they call reverence. In Buddhism, there is also a mind of reverence. We chant reverence, and strike the bell of reverence 3 times, and that is the mind of holding to one and going nowhere else, of one mind undisturbed. It is the same idea. Still, this is not the highest place in Buddhism. It is a discipline for holding one's own mind in place. For the man whose training and practice have not yet piled up over the years. Practice it long enough, and the mind will come free of itself. That is the meaning of it. The rank of abiding nowhere at all, let the mind arise, is far above the rank of reverence. Reverence means holding the mind fast, so it will not be sent out anywhere at the outset. The mind must be kept from scattering. Since sending it out makes a mess of things, and so it is a rank in which you never relax. Never let the rope go slack. But that is a tether. It is the mind of a man who keeps a cat on a string, because the cat cannot be trusted with the sparrow. Keep your own mind on a leash like a cat, and it is unfree, and its use is lost. Train the cat well, and you may untie the rope and let it go where it likes, and cat and sparrow can be together, and the cat will not touch it. That is, abiding nowhere at all. Let the mind go, leave it where it will, and use it as you use a cat that can be trusted. To put the line of the sutra to your own art, however you swing the sword, you must not let the mind stay on the swinging. Forget your hands, strike, and cut the man down. Do not put the mind in the man. The man is empty, and you are empty, and the hand that strikes and the sword that strikes are empty. But do not let yourself be taken by the emptiness. When the Zen master Daikaku was in Kamakura, and the soldiers of the rebellion seized him and made to cut off his head, the master spoke this verse: "The 3-foot sword of heaven, in the flash of lightning it cuts the spring wind." Hearing it, the soldiers threw down their swords and fled. The lightning flash, there is no time in it for a thought to arise. When the thunder cracks, no thought arrives before it. The sword that strikes is empty. The man who strikes is empty. The man who is struck is empty. Do not think of the man who strikes as a man. Do not think of yourself as yourself. Striking is only the empty sky, striking the empty sky. It is like the spring wind blowing through emptiness and cutting it. A mind that stops nowhere. The wind cuts nothing though it cuts. And the sword forgets the whole of it and takes what comes. When a man dances, he takes the fan in his hand and stamps his feet. If he tries to dance well with his hands and feet, and does not forget the fan and the stamping, he is no master. As long as the mind stops in the hands and the feet, everything he does will be poor. To do a thing without throwing the whole mind away is bad, every one of them. Seek the lost mind, and the mind must be let go. Seek the mind that has been let loose. That is what Mencius said. He meant that when the mind has gotten away from you, you should search it out and bring it home again. If a dog or a cat or a chicken gets out and runs off somewhere, you go and bring it back to the house. The mind is the master of the whole body. So when it goes off down a bad road and stops there, why on earth would you not go looking for it and bring it back? That is quite right. But there was also Shao Kangji, who said the mind must be let go. That sounds like the exact opposite. What he meant was this: hold the mind fast and pin it down, and it becomes the tethered cat, unable to do any work. Train it so that the mind does not stop on things, and then set it loose and leave it be, wherever it goes. Because a mind is easily soiled by things, and always wants to stop somewhere, We say, do not let it stop. Bring it back to yourself. That is right for the beginner's rank. It is the lotus that is not stained by the mud. Though it grows up out of the mud, it stays clean. A well-polished crystal jewel can be put into mud and take no stain. Train until the mind is like that, free and unstained wherever you set it down. That is the essential thing. In the time of training, take the mind of Mencius and his character for reverence. When you have arrived, take the mind of Shao Kangji, who said the mind must be let go. Cutting through before and after. There is a saying, cut through before and after. The word between means the interval. The word cut means to sever. Sever the interval between what came before and what comes after. It means, again, do not let the mind stop.
Thank you for staying to the end. This translation was made page by page from the original Japanese because every English version in print is still under copyright. I asked you to notice where your attention keeps sticking. Tahan does not tell you to park it somewhere better. He tells you to stop parking it. Tell me in the comments which image stayed with you, the gourd on the water or the spark from the flint. And subscribe for one complete classic at a time.